Patch 1.69 is just around the corner and it's going to be one of the biggest content updates in War Thunder as of yet. Again! God damn it, Gaijin! It's really getting hard to keep up with all of this stuff. Since I barely had any time to record footage and I barely have time to record this video either, here's the quickest patch review you've ever seen in 5, 4, 3. Starting off with the main theme of the entire patch is the release of the Italian air tech tree. 35 vehicles were included in the dev server, of which the main theme seems to be aircraft similar to the Germans, in many cases even sharing engines and cannons. Here are a couple of the vehicles that have stood out to me. As a fan of the MC202 in the German tech tree, I immediately grabbed the MC202EC, which switches the rifle caliber pasta MGs with not one, but two MG 151 20mm cannons with a total of 500 rounds. This thing seems to be quite fun now that it can actually kill stuff you shoot at. Next I had a look at the P108A. This 4-engine aircraft carries a 102mm cannon. Yes, I mean cannon, not howitzer. And yes, that is the biggest cannon mounted on an aircraft in War Thunder. This cannon can fire either a HE for dealing with open top and soft targets, or enemy bombers if you wish to do so, or an AP shell with 140mm of penetration, which should be quite devastating against tanks. I took a quick look at the G56, which has German markings and reminds me actually a bit of the HE100, except it carries 3 MG151s and should absolutely wreck anything it shoots at. Then I got to the jets, and boy oh boy do the Italians have two interesting ones. First is an American jet actually, the F-84G. Now the American F-84 isn't a bad jet, but it's not really anything too special either. The Italian version is quite different however. First of all, it loses the wingtip fuel tanks and suffers some other changes which make it faster. It can also carry an insane amount of ordnance with up to 32 HVAR rockets, amongst other options. That's 16 launches in RB, which can eat you 16 kills. You could quite literally kill the entire enemy team without ever rearming if this thing was available in ground forces. And it just looks absolutely menacing carrying all of those rockets too. Then we have two variants of the G91, with the only major difference I could spot being the late one being a bit faster. Now I wouldn't really call the G91 a fighter per se, at least not in my opinion. Whilst the thing is quite fast, small and nimble, which can make for interesting combat if you know how to evade, you only get 4 50 caliber M3 machine guns and absolutely no cannons, which is less than an ideal armament for jet combat, even with the recent MG buff. That being said, this aircraft also truly shines in the ground attack role instead. You thought 32 rockets was a lot? The G91 can carry 38 FFAR rockets mounted in pods. And these things are insanely effective too, netting me double kills against AI tanks even when the rockets impacted a couple meters away. I don't know if they're going to retain the same power once they go live, and in fact I doubt they will, but holy crap, if they do, this thing will be a ground attack monster. Next we have some very interesting tanks. Starting off with the Russians, they're getting the Object 268. In what looks like the Russian answer to the Jagdtiger, this is a heavily armored tank destroyer with a big 152mm cannon. You have a choice between a HE shell with 54mm pen and an APHE shell with 232mm of penetration from the start. with the option to unlock a heat shell with 250mm of penetration. It sits at a battle rating 7.7, which means it won't be all that effective in its own BR due to the prevalence of heat FS. But in a down tier against 6.7s, this thing will feast on the tears of King Tiger drivers, even more so than the i6 already does. Next we have the T55A, an evolution of the T54 and likely to be Russia's most competitive top tier tank. It's faster, it has a better turret rotation speed, and it has a better gun with better ammo choices and an 11.2 second base reload. The stock APDS shell has 300mm of penetration. From there you can get an APHE shell with 240mm of penetration, an upgraded APDS FS shell with 335mm of penetration, or a Heat FS shell with 390mm of penetration. Leopard drivers beware, this thing will be a challenge. But the Russians aren't the only ones getting love. The US also gets two very interesting top tier tanks. The M60A2 takes the M60's hull and the M551 Sheridan's gun and fuses them together in a menacing looking turret. You'll also be glad to hear that this turret doesn't quite have the massive 127mm weak spot of the regular M60s, instead having a smaller flat gun breach area with 220mm of armor. It still has the massive tumor of an MG turret on the top though, so watch out for APHE shells. Next we have the T95E1. No, this is not related to T95 Doom Turtle, this is a medium tank with a 90mm gun. You only get one main shell type with this thing, a 300mm penetration APFSDS shell. No heat, no APHE, which might make things difficult against tougher enemies. What you do get is the ability to launch smoke shells from your main cannon, which makes this thing an excellent support tank. Yes, you heard smoke shells, we'll get to that in a bit. What sets this tank apart is the armor. For a medium tank, it's pretty decent. The upper frontal armor plate is only 95mm thick, but has an extreme angle which elevates the effective thickness to about 200mm. And whilst that still won't stop hash, Heat FS or APDS shells for the most part, it'll stop any kind of solid AP, APCR or APHE shells. And it might bounce a lot of other shell types as well. The turret is also quite strong, with the gun mantle being impenetrable even by Heat FS and the rest being very rounded and sloped. The enemy either has to aim for very small flat turret parts, the Cancer MG turret on top, or the turret ring in order to reliably penetrate this turret. Next is Britain with yet again two new top tier tanks. The Chieftain Mark V is pretty much just another Chieftain Mark III, but with a better engine, resulting in better mobility. It's a neat little upgrade of the Chieftain we already have, but nothing too special except for acting as a free respawn really. The Vickers Mark I, however, is a bit of a weird one. A medium tank at battle rating 7.0, this thing features the same L7A1 cannon as is found on numerous other MBTs and in fact the Centurion Mark X. The difference in this one is the even faster fire rate, with a base reload of 6.5 seconds and a top reload of 5 seconds. This thing can spam auto shells very quickly, and it might really be a direct counter to the AI-6. It does pay for that cannon with shoddy armor, however. At 60 to 80mm the hull won't really stop anything, and the turret front is only 80mm thick with an additional 80mm flat plate in front of the gun mantled. The side armor is only 30mm too, so don't expect to block any shots on this thing. This is a rapid fire glass cannon without the mobility of a Leopard. Finally, the Germans get a long-awaited vehicle, the Puma. This is an armored car, meaning it only has wheels. It is armed with a 50mm cannon at battle rating 2.7 and has a very good ammo choice for its battle rating, changing from 97mm pen APHE shell to 150mm pen APCR shell. This cannon is the same as the Panzer II H's, but the Puma is even faster. The advertised top speed of 90 km/h isn't really achievable, I'm afraid. Even on flat, paved terrain, the maximum I ever got up to was 62 km/h. But the Puma can do the same speed backwards as it can do forwards, making it extremely mobile. Even on rough terrain you can do 40 km/h, which allows you to flank around or cap zones easily. Be warned, however, with how wheeled vehicles are handled in War Thunder, it is extremely hard to keep the swing in a straight line at speed. The Puma has just about enough armor to stop MG fire, but not much else really. What you can do is use this thing just like a tank destroyer and drive it backwards, using the engine as cover for your crew. This allows you to survive the first shot and destroy them with your very good cannon. And that is far from all. There are lots of new vehicles that I didn't even have time to cover, so you'll just have to explore once the patch goes live. Finally, we see a massive gameplay change with the introduction of smoke for tanks. The ability to launch smoke comes in 3 flavors. Grenade launched, big barrel simply dropped from the tank, or dedicated tank shells. This is a long-awaited update that will completely change the game meta. Now you'll be able to cross a field in visual cover to advance an objective. You can mark a target area with a smoke shell to let your friendly aircraft know where to bomb. You can launch a smoke shell directly into the enemy's face to blind them and flank around, and so much more. I'll be testing the system extensively and making a guide on it soon, TM. Well, damn, I did say I was going to make a quick overview, but the script is already 1,700 words long, so let's cut it here. Thank you, Sexy Beast, very much for watching. My name is MikeGoesBoom, and I'll see you in patch 1.69. Giggity.
You can lift your head up to the sky, take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines with your shattered frame of mind. Or instead you could always stay. We can wait right here and play until somehow you can find